Hello folks, and welcome back to Fractured Space with Fleet Admiral Katz. You may have been aware, but I've been doing some Fractured Space streams online with my friend Lakiel. We don't wow anyone with our skills, but we're both fairly average, though competent players. There is something talking with him and the new matchmaking system has opened my eyes to, and that is, of course, countering the enemy fleet composition. Players choose their ships into 3 staggered segments. 2 people choose their ships first on either team, then the other people will follow up. And the idea is, of course, to fill niche needs in a fleet comp, and countering enemy ships. And creating a meta of countering the enemy ships at the beginning of the game. If your team has any bots, they'll typically pick last and choose something to fill a hole in your enemy fleet composition. One thing Locke and I have in common is how much we hate dealing with enemy cloakers. Now, the enemy fleet chose a Black Widow right away, and with the need for more attack ships on our team, I opted to fill a need while also countering the enemy team's choices. I chose the Pioneer. What? It's a good ship. No, seriously. That's not a controversial statement, but right now, there's someone out there shaking their head. But Mary, that's the ship I started out the game with. Yeah, the ship's one of the starter ships, but its simplicity shouldn't be confused with quality. There are only a few ships in the game that have the tools to reveal cloaked vessels. The only one I happen to own is the Pioneer, and I don't fly it a lot, despite its usefulness and versatility. So one of the skills for getting the most out of being a hard counter to the Black Widow is knowing when and where to use the detection buoy. However, it also pays to open your bloody eyes and see the Black Widow bearing down on your position. Oh, shit, you bloody bastard. Knowing I was about to die, I should have deployed the buoy so my team could reap the rewards to better hold that position. Lesson learned. I'm just kind of sussing out where to go next and where I'm most needed. With the Black Widow last spotted in Alpha, I opt to go for some good old-fashioned revenge. And I'm perfectly capable of taking on these ships, maybe not by myself, but certainly dishing out a considerable amount of damage. The Pioneer has a strong array of damage-dealing weapon systems, its main weapon in my build being its void charges. These rounds have a small area of effect to them, which turns even near misses into hits. It's great for the unsteady hand, medium-range engagements, and keeping a cloaked ship from re-engaging its cloaking device. Its armor is acceptable, provided you keep your armor facing your opponent. It can hold up, but a few solid hits won't ensure it buckles under pressure. And that is almost without a doubt the reason why I nearly exploded a second time. Oh, come on. Hold together. Hold together a bit longer. Oh, yes! Oh! Oh, what's that, 27 health? Ah, I am being held together by staples at this point. People have busted out their scotch tape and they're keeping things pinned into place. Oh. That was a Pioneer v Pioneer, and I barely got out of there with the skin of my teeth. After butting heads with that Raven, that Pioneer was able to rip me to pieces. The help of my teammate was the only reason why I got out of there, in more or less one piece. 27 health is still one piece. sans armor. The battle for Gamma has begun early, and the enemy Colossus seems awfully eager. Coming early is all well and fine, right up until the enemy team has the same idea. The health pool of a heavy can be difficult to manage with the timer going, but prior to, easy as pie. The Pioneer that almost took me out a minute ago has already respawned and has taken up a position as well. This particular Pioneer is gonna have an unfortunate destiny to clash with me. And this won't be the last time we come to blows. But, let's just say I come either better equipped or with more friends for most of the encounters. I know I'm treading into spoiler territory, but calls him how he sees him, and I see a dead man walking. I said, I see a dead man walking. We'll get there eventually. There. Done. With that victory in the bag, it's time to return to a forward operating base, tool up for the next engagement, and move in. Arguably, the Gamma 1 is the least important Gamma. It had said capturing mines is the most important thing, and Gamma 1 can be ignored. I feel ambivalent about that particular statement. I personally prefer getting Gamma 1 to ensure that mine capture goes a little bit easier. Every advantage counts. And look at this Colossus. Just look at him. He knows he has a boost ability, right? Either that or he used it to get to that particular position, because he can get out of there. Either that or close range on one of the threats targeting him. Ah, well. Never interrupt the enemy when he's making a mistake. And I do feel bad for this Pioneer pilot. The Pioneer's a good ship. He just keeps throwing himself into situations where, well, he's 1v many. And if there's one takeaway from this video, at the very least, Pioneer pilots, don't do that. Don't throw your one ship into a situation where it has incoming fire from multiple targets. That's honestly a surefire way to get blown to pieces. Unfortunately, they're coming at a staggered rate, so it's like a fast-paced array of 1v1. I'm keeping my eye on the other lane, but it looks like the enemy team are just dedicated to reinforcing this lane one at a time. I'll grant you this what are you doing? I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Granted, this Colossus is probably the best ship to lead with on account of its hit points. It is doing a decent job of stopping the team here and then enabling the rest of the team to show up. Case in point, enemy Pioneer's back, but like before, now the enemy Pioneer is alone. Most unfortunate. Most unfortunate. And now the enemy Paladin's back. This is deja vu all over again. Rubbing is racing, I guess. Just a little love tap. That is what I saw, right? That was a ram. It was just a really poor ram. Note to self. Ramming Colossus video. I bet that would be amazing. Anyway, neither here nor there. I'm just racking up kills like crazy with this thing. Again, spoiler territory, but I do end this game with over 20 kills. The Pioneer is solid. If you equip it properly and you fly with at least 1, 2 other players, You don't even necessarily need to be countering a cloaked vessel for it to be doing well. In fact, you could have an easier time if there's no cloaked vessel, because then you don't really need to worry about when you deploy your buoy. The Pioneer is honestly elegant with its simplicity. You point at the enemy, you pull the trigger until they explode. Or you do as well. It doesn't hold up very well to sustained fire, but provided that you're a part of a wolf pack, they're going to benefit a great deal from your immense firepower. And if you're paired up with, say, a heavy, or if the enemy fleet isn't paying attention to heavy, a repair vessel, you're gonna do reasonably well. New players out there, consider teaming up with someone flying a repair vessel and see how well you do. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. For one, they won't be shooting at you. Ah, well, if they're smart anyway. Here we are, Gamma 2. Gamma 2 is when the game starts getting serious. And just as planned, I respawn just in time to get into the fight. No, really. Plan that. Honest. My team is doing a great job of diverting fire from me, with the exception of one or two vessels that kind of understand what kind of damage I can put out. And this poor Raven has done something it really ought not to have done. It smacked the beehive. Oh sure, I should be pointing my attention to whomever's got the fleet focus fire. But no, this Raven has done pissed off the Pioneer. And I'm gonna chase it down. I'm gonna kill it good. You can't get away from me. But no, honestly, the smart thing would have been to direct my attention to whomever's got the focus fire, take them down quicker. If it wasn't so already in the bag, I'd say that was a misplay. One day behavior like that will come back and bite me in the ass, but it's not today. What's this? It looks like the enemy team tried to forego Gamma 2 in favor of picking up a forward operating base. And I can't blame them. I've seen daring moves like that work. Unfortunately for them, that's a coordinated effort that I'm not sure their team could hope for. Still though, no guts, no glory. Can't blame them for trying. I would have given that particular task to the Black Widow, a ship we honestly haven't seen very much of. Now, I'll periodically pop my detect beacon, but I haven't seen the Black Widow in ages. Almost seems like I'm doing fine in spite of being a hard counter to the ship. Now, a more attentive player might be scanning the map and seeing where the Pioneer, me, is, and then focusing on the opposite lane. Which is actually a pretty good decision. If you're playing against a hard counter, the trick is to not face the hard counter. But even then, your behavior is being influenced by the presence of someone else entirely. So, pick your poison. Either face something potentially dangerous to you, or be diverted entirely, which means your resources aren't present when most needed. Now for the praise that I'm singing the Pioneer, this game has been privileged to a lot of good luck, such as...
We no longer have jump access to the enemy base.
Wow! I'm in just under the wire. Indiana Jones evading a boulder trap, reaching under a closing stone door to snatch his hat back. Isn't as lucky as that. Unfortunately, my luck has run out. I just ran aground on a turret. You know, those turrets are massive when you think about it. Capital ships? Those are capital turrets. No wonder they hurt so much. We're approaching the final phase of the game, and this next few bits happen pretty quickly. The enemy Colossus is attempting to get an early foothold in Gamma again, which is not a bad idea. But we, again, show that we are willing to take him out early, preventing his massive quantity of hit points from being an issue. And we're focus firing the Colossus, which is an amazing amount of coordination for essentially a pub. We bring him down and we're moving on to the next ship, the enemy Paladin. After that, the enemy Raven, and whatever else stands in our way. Just like with Gamma 2, the enemy tries to pull some back capping at Alpha and sneak through some early capture points at our home base. I really wish I could have seen the enemy team's chat. Were they bickering with one another? What exactly was the team thinking, separating their forces like that? It's the enemy Pioneer, again. I think this guy wants to fly a stealth ship. I seriously think he does. He just doesn't know it. Well, rest in peace, Pioneer. I hope you use the credits from this fight to get yourself a cloak vessel. I caught a glimpse of something in Gamma and I thought to myself, easy prey. Not a concern, but we do have the jump buff for Gamma 3. The friendly team doesn't seem to be aware of that, and so I knowingly jumped to the Alpha enemy base. You could say I could type in the chat, jump to the enemy base, everyone. But not every new player understands that they can do that with the Gamma 3 jump buff. So I just play to their inexperience. And capture something that they know opens up the enemy base. And sure enough, friendly team follows suit. They take their time of it, but they get there eventually. And at this point, it's just a matter of taking out the enemy vessels until no one is standing. That's one down. Oh, that Pioneer's gonna curse me at the end of his days. This Raven's gonna wish he ever caught my attention. Either that or he just wants the game to be over and done with. And who can blame him? We've all been there. Oh look! There's the enemy Black Widow. He did substantial damage. Even as a good counter for revealing his position, the Pioneer is still vulnerable to that missile barrage. Even though I'm down and out, my DPS has done its job. The Pioneer's out, the enemy Raven's out. That's 2 ships to my 1. The numbers still lie in our favor. With the Colossus down, it's as good as over. Ta-da! Victory! No, I don't want to say it was all my doing. Absolutely not. The Pioneer doesn't function very well if it's not flying in a team. Now you could say any ship works better in a team, but the Pioneer dishes out substantial damage, but buckles easily under sustained fire. The scanning equipment on board is very useful for giving information to the rest of the team. You pair intel gathering with a high DPS and a threshold for linking up well with others, and you've got the makings of a fantastic team. I would willingly take a Pioneer on my team any day of the week. A Pioneer slots in well in virtually every fleet composition. Now the next time you see a Pioneer pop up on your team, do not fret. It's just fine. In fact, it might be better than some of the other ships that player could have chosen. Now look at that! 21 kills. That's just under double of what the other players in the team acquired. That's substantial. I don't care where you are in the player rankings. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I want to thank you very much for watching, everyone. And until next time, take care.